So, JR, you coming home? Welcome to the J.R. Hendrick Texan Gentleman, the podcast that deals with the early life of J.R. Hendrick. And now, we give this in a narrated format. Okay, put this back on disturb, do not disturb. Welcome, guys, Jimmy and JR. Sipping on lemon waters right now, trying to keep healthy. That's right, isn't it? Okay, now. We are doing JR's Northern Adventures Part 2. You remember the last episode, Kyle's best friend, James Moorhead, was killed in the conflict in Bosnia. Okay, so it's 1 p.m. Eastern. Betsy, fresh home from a little tour of pleasures. Don't say it like that. She's hanging clothes when she receives a phone call from Kyle. Mama, James Moorhead, he's gone. And Betsy's like, what happened? He said, late at night, Special Forces assistant sent him to put out a tower that had energy to half of Belgrade. Some idiots, Serbs, found him, shot him down. Oh no, I'm sorry. Listen, I'll call your daddy. We're gonna try to get the whole family to get together this next week. This week back in Texas on the ranch. Grandma Elizabeth wheeled in. Betsy, darling, what's wrong? James Moorhead was killed yesterday in Belgrade. Despite my differences with Jim, I have to call him, unify the family back in Texas for Kyle's sake. I'm coming back to Texas with you for the funeral. 3 p.m. Jim is with Francis Blackwell discussing his plan when his phone rings, and it's obvious it's Betsy. What's going on, cutie pie? And Betsy's voice is like very shaky. Very bad news, Jim. Kyle is grief-stricken because James Moorhead got killed, Betsy said, shivering. All right, calm down. We gotta unify the family for Kyle's sake. Now, here comes Christine. She comes walking down the hall to meet, her mother. And she said, James got killed? Yes, and somebody told him I know we should come back to Texas. With JR or not. I'm going back with you to Texas tomorrow, and I'm sorry. Even if you go back to DC with Daddy, I'm staying there. Mary Shields, she has already the information to get me enrolled in Midway Prep. Betsy turned to her daughter. Alright. Me, your grandma, and Thomas are going back to Texas for the funeral. I'll wait tomorrow to call JR. Don't even think about it, Mom. JR is not coming back with us this time. And Betsy's like, well, sure he is. 3:20 p.m. JR is in the motorhome talking to Brad when his cell phone rings. And it's his mother. And JR's like, Mama, how kind of you to call. And she says, awful news. James Moorhead got killed last night in battle in Belgrade. What the hell happened? And Betsy says, he was trying to cut the power to a tower in Belgrade so that Serbian forces couldn't send reinforcements to take Srebrenica, or however the hell you say it. Slow down. But James was called to shut up the tower at night, and some sniper killed him. Can you please come home to Texas, back to the ranch, to be with us for Kyle? And come on, Mama, you know how much a friend I am to James Moorhead. I really was. But I can't go back, Mama. I can't go back right now. For the whole family. But the whole family's gonna be there. Your Uncle Carl and Aunt Donna and Max and all of them are gonna be there. So, I need you there. And JR, he's like upset. Absolutely not, Mama. I'm not going into the minefield that involves Kyle and any other members of the family. Not getting picked on. He hangs up the phone, and Jim Bob walks in, having overheard. The Moorhead family is a very prominent family where you were raised. Why don't we go ahead and have the driver take you directly to the airport? Jim Bob says. Jim Bob. Jim Bob. Sorry, buddy, but I have to give you this. I ain't got no choice. Jim Bob, there's the bell. I mean, Jim Bob is such a party pooper. I mean, I can understand. But I can also understand where JR is coming from. Kyle was upset that he lost his best friend to war. He had a hell of a temper. And JR's like, heck no. Kyle has plenty of people around him that love him. But what after happened last week in Baton Rouge and D.C., I ain't going. Leave it alone, Jim Bob. Look, I understand when Betsy's calling to JR. But JR is not coming back. Not until he's ready to return to Texas, Brad said. Okay, so it's 7 p.m. and dinner at the Blackwells is steak and baked potatoes, along with some asparagus and pecan pie for dessert. And Francis Blackwell says, your personal tragedy is so unfortunate. He says, Rabbi Kessler said that anyone who has a wife doesn't need to be fighting in war. I blame Clinton. He was stupid for continuing the conflict in Bosnia. Anyway, I'll think about this Whitewater and the sexual harassment case against him. He's a member of the Polizeistaat. Adultery and lying is part of the problem, if not sorcery as well, Blackwell said. And Gerald's like, Bill Clinton is a liar. I blame him for what happened to my family friend. And Jim Bob says, shouldn't he come home to be with his family? Jim Bob, you got the bell once. I ain't got no choice. We gonna have you try for two. And Jim loses it. Courtesy is key here. As much as I want him to come home, Jim Bob, you don't have a say. Okay, so it's 11 p.m. Brad shut the door, and Floyd, the driver, took the motor home, unhooked it from the Blackwell's estate, electric and water, and began the 9-hour journey from Philadelphia to Detroit. Ooh. So we know what's going to happen. We have to find July 12th. Ooh. Oh, I hate when this thing doesn't. There, okay, July 12th and 13th. Okay, it's 1 a.m., July 12th. Kyle is awake, grief-stricken, and goes into the dining room where he remembers about the first many dinners that James Moorhead had with the family. Kyle was not very understanding that James would often help the servants put up dishes from the table and wash the dishes. Now he was gone. At 20. Shot dead at point blank range by a damn Serb. He remembers it 6 years ago when Rodney Moorhead ordered the hit on a man who was taking his cattle. And so Kyle went joyriding in the back truck. In the truck. And chains, and saw such a man get hit at point blank range by a cop moonlighting as a hitman. 2:30 a.m. Eastern. Elizabeth wakes up feeling good for a change. No abdominal pain. She was excited about returning to Texas. Within a few weeks, she knew she would be back in Texas completely, where she plans on the last of her days at the ranch in Texas to live and die. 3 a.m. Eastern. Jim woke up in his guest room in the Blackwell estate. He sighs and gets his servant Luigi, can I get some black coffee? And he takes out a pack of cigarettes. Francis and Catherine Blackwell were devout Messianic Jews. Francis' son Charles was a rabbi in South Broad, New Jersey. Charles had also developed a wealth investment levels, and when he was not performing the duties of the rabbi, he was a well-paid motivational speaker. 4:15 a.m., arriving at Philadelphia International Airport, Jim checks in at the Southwest counter and goes through security. He sees a woman looking lonely. Forlorn, and tells them that they would see each other on the flight. Okay, so it's 6:15 a.m. Southwest flight 2107 departs from Philadelphia International Airport, bound for Detroit. Darling, what's got you so lonely? Jim asked. My husband. But I've been married to for nearly a year and a half. Tells me that it's over. He's getting a divorce. What's your name? Susie Ray. My husband's a producer at Light Bomb Studios. We did live in North Carolina. But then, in the middle, something went wrong. Did you see the signs? Oh, I saw the signs. Just for 6 days. I just didn't want to admit it. Early morning phone calls with a Louisiana area code on the caller ID. Gordon, his best friend, feeling uncomfortable around me. He used to love me. I found a photo of Luke and her in some laundry. And get this. He said that he and two of his friends would have dinner at the Sound, and only two had dinner, and they didn't come home until around 3 in the morning of the night. But now, Jim, I'll be going to make matters worse. I found out Monday that he was talking to a girl named Jessie. Real sweet and all. Then, another best friend of his, Kevin. Plus, like, who's a coach's basketball, got really uncomfortable with me. And then, early this morning, I confronted him with a love letter that I found. And he told me everything. He wants a divorce so he can be with her. That's lousy. Good thing is, you don't have any kids. We have a son, Evan. Well, I had my mother take the baby, and now I'm going home alone. Darling, I am so sorry. He should have found a better way to keep you. If I stayed, we could have had an open marriage. It didn't matter. He's finally gone. And I can't make it on my own in Philadelphia. Darling, let me give you something. Jim says, it gets out a check for $84,000. I'm a Texas millionaire on government business. Now, listen. I'll be at the mansion of a congressman. You need something, you call me. I'll get the limo driver to take you to come see me. But I have to fly back to Texas tomorrow. I got to help my household too. Young friend and to my boy killed in this damn war in Bosnia. 8 a.m. Floyd, the driver, parks the motorhome behind the mansion of Congressman Alex Romy. The 3 male servants go assist. They hook up the motorhome to electric and water. Okay. 8 a.m. Central. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Kyle is barking orders at his assistant foreman, Luke, to get some bulls ready to take to a rodeo in Lubbock. Okay, 9 a.m. Eastern. Jim arrives at the Romy estate and goes upstairs, and this is greeted by this Agatha, a Dutch servant. Welcome, Herr Jacobus. Your room is on the 3rd floor, room 304. All made nice for you. Master Alex and his Frau will be in late tonight. 12 p.m. In the motorhome, JR, Jim Bob, Brad, and another intern is playing dice game of 10,000. So far, Brad is winning, but JR is distraught. Confused. Don't understand. Called Karen yesterday, and she cut me off. didn't want to talk to me that much at all. Let her go, man. Kevin Delano, the fellow intern for the American Conservative Union, said, if a girl don't want you, let her go. And so, here comes Brad. Guys, I have to disagree. Hold on. And be patient, JR. You got to think, her mom flies in on DC all the time, wasting her husband's money. I can't do it for too long. And if I have to, I'll leave her alone. But a huge part of me really loves her. Don't cry, JR. What went wrong between you and Jennifer? With Karen, can be worked out, Jim Bob said. Jim Bob. Good grief. Such idiocy, man. So Kevin Delano's like, I don't know. He says, emotionality in a relationship can create things as a parent gets involved. Hell, I'm living proof. Okay, so it's 1 p.m. Detroit, U.S. Small Business Administration. Jim is at the meeting. Well, he discovers that the main administrator, Phil Later, is also at the meeting. So guess what? Jim is real pissed. I don't think it went as good as I thought. And so now it's 1 p.m. Central. The plane carrying Betsy, Elizabeth, and Christine and Thomas arrives at the Jeremy Swain hangar, the National Airport, long-hairing her for her red 1990 van. Betsy arranges for one of the servants to bring it, and the family piles in and goes back to the ranch to console Kyle. Okay, so it's 2:30 p.m. and back at the ranch, the family is trying to console Kyle. I don't know what you can do for me. A best friend I've known for 8 years is gone. I know we all love him. And he was surprisingly fine to JR. Don't care about his relationship to JR. I just don't like it. Because we didn't have a chance to say goodbye. And Betsy's like, I understand, son. In 1956, my great-uncle AJ was driving a truck to the 138th parallel and was told to guard the wall They shot him standing by his truck, killing him instantly and exploding the truck. Gooks and Serbs. May they rot in hell, Kyle said. Lindsay's going to be the nurse for the kids. And Lori is going to look after Grandma. Okay, so it's 3 p.m. And at the Marriott Hotel Business Center, Jim is being interviewed by Blake Carter, where he criticizes Clinton's agenda and everything, and of course, the issues of small business. Now it's 3:30 p.m. It's the White House, and Bill Clinton decides to have a secret meeting with some confidential assistants. Leon Drew and Bob Cooney. I have to get that little sign out going here. No. Leon? Bob? Go on in. I'll shut the door. Make sure nobody calls me. So, what do we know about Hendrick? Y'all like to have some wine. No, Mr. President, I'm afraid not. Trying to make back with your wife? Yeah, and I have to say it as my deal. Lemonade, then. How about some lemonade? Sounds good. All right, then. I'll make us all some lemonade, then. Now, what's the latest on Hendrick? It's not good. Bob, you don't? In a way, we're screwed. Criticize your handling of the war in Bosnia, not to mention the economy. Damn! Where is he? Detroit. Bob Cooney is talking to some nut-crack libertarian convention there. Yeah. I should have known. But we don't have any problems. Let's just say at the meeting, I just got off the phone with Phil later. He's getting ready to hop on the plane to go back to D.C. And let's just say Hendrick told him bluntly that he had to go back to Texas. There's been a death among one of their close friends. Turns out it was the Special Forces soldier who was gunned down the tower of the Belgrade. Oh. Damn, I'm sorry. I hate that. How long is he going to be gone? He leaves for Texas in the morning. And then also, what he's going to be doing is he's going to be gone until Sunday. They're returning back Sunday night. The whole family. I think just him and his wife and his mother-in-law. Most of the family wants to be back in Texas, except for the son, JR. How's father and son getting along? Not good. What's the intern working for? Well, the boy's boss has put him under Jim Hendrick for the next 2 weeks. Damn, this stinks. I know. Try to interject Bob in there somehow. Please? Bob, get in there. tapped the boy on the shoulder and says, "You're doing a good job. Your father says you're doing a good job. Please, we need to get these two back together." "You sure?" "Hell, Daddy, yeah, I know I'm sure. You take me for. I'm working my ass off. I'm doing what I can." I got Bosnia to work with. I got the damn press criticizing me about Paula Jones. What are you gonna do? I don't know. That's the thing. I just don't know. But let me focus more on the plan with Hendrick. Negotiations in London didn't do so well. So they're going to try again next week in Stockholm. Holbrook says he's not attending. The other countries need to kind of help develop a peace. Alright? Alright, then what I think you might do is, Bob can get involved. I don't know Hendrick that much, but Bob has analyzed it. Find a way to inject yourself in. I don't give a damn what it takes. Just do it. 'Cause I can't handle this no more. I mean, you could easily move him from office. But then, I wouldn't have any need for you guys right now. So please, honor me on this one, okay? Please? And you will be very much rewarded. I promise. Alright then. Sounds like we got a deal. Handshake? Handshake. Where I come from, Mr. President, it takes a contract, but I'll shake hands. Bob, just remember, you're doing work for me. But when your trial starts, you're out again. And I can't guarantee when I can let you back in, if ever. I know that, Mr. President. You can be pushing things here in the White House, but I can't talk to you about Hendrick once the trial starts. Alright. Now, back to more interesting things. 3 p.m. Central. Okay, Carl's descend upon cars are descending upon the ranch. I mean, it's like the family knows. Everybody knows. And they should know. Springfield Ranch, en masse. And driving in one car was Carl, Donna, and Max. And in another car was Jessica. She was driving all the way from Fort Worth. In the car, Uncle Carl says, and Donna says, "Kyle, I am so sorry. You know Carl and I would come yesterday. But we have a lot of work to do around Lubbock." And Carl says, Kyle, Betsy, Elizabeth, we come as soon as we could. And so Jessica says, "First of all, is JR coming with Uncle Jim tomorrow?" And Thomas says, He's not coming this time. And she's like, "Stupid idiot, dirtball. Prefers a joyride rather than coming to be with Kyle and the family," Jessica says. And so Thomas was, Gerald's cousin, he's going to defend him. Shut the hell up. Family, JR is a gentleman. He did what he thought was honorable. Yes, like Jim, we all love James Moorhead. And we're all sad that he's gone. Now, what do you say, Betsy, Kyle, Madison? Let's go ahead and go to Cedar Hills and console the Moorhead family. Okay, 4:30 p.m. Eastern at the Romeo. I don't know why I said Romeo. I said Romeo, but to the Romeo Mansion. Jim is meeting with his dream team. Dave couldn't come, Cowboy Joe said. Said something about a headache and nausea and vomiting. And so Bruce Banner says, okay. So our move is to have block grants all over the states and sealing it Congress to get off their butt and match, Bruce Banner said. And Jim says, now listen, I need someone to stay here and give some orders to these kids. When I tell you to, they're going to be in Detroit and Madison. We got the limo. And Amory said that we could stay along with Mike Pierce. We can bring in the orders. And Avery says, I, my own private jet, can get the boys back to D.C. Oh, the Bruce said that. Why JR won't return with either Texas is beyond me. And Jim loses his anger. Leave my problems, my family problems to me. Now listen. I have a meeting with the SBA tonight at 8. Bruce, you're to give the orders tonight. JR and that crazy friend Brad, I want them to be taking the roaming limo to pick up Alex and his wife. Take them back to the mansion. Horton, I want him with Kevin Delano. They're going to go to in a rental car I purchased with Kevin Delano from the American Conservative Union. They're to meet in the office of this state representative. Rather, state senator. Give her the data and then report back to the mansion. Okay, so it's 6 p.m. Eastern. The Ford interns are having McDonald's at the Romeo Mansion because Jim said not to depend on the servants. 8:41 p.m. Eastern. Brad and JR get into the stretch limo driven by the chauffeur Alec. Alright, you guys. I want a healthy competition. You're hearing me. Horton and Delano are going downtown today to some state senator's office. Talk to her and get the data now. You two are to head to the yacht, but just off the docks of the Detroit River. You pick up them up, Jim said. Congressman and his wife, and bring them back to the mansion. Let's see who can get there the fastest. 8:50 p.m. They arrive at the yacht where, the party's is going. Nice and heavy. And the prominent psychologist is there, and naturopathic psychiatrist, and a number of consultants. "9:30 p.m. JR and Brad arrive first at the Romey mansion, and Mrs. Romey talks to them. "Love you, gents. Come inside. You're not staying in that motorhome as long as we were here," Mrs. Romey said. Okay, upstairs they are escorted to a suite of rooms. And then the senator and his wife went downstairs with Jim to have a champagne dinner with Jim. Okay, it's 1 a.m. on the 13th. Jim is a bit inebriated and goes upstairs. And the senator motions for the Dutch servant girl to get him a pot of black coffee. And the senator says, "Just like I told you, Jim, friends for life. We're friends till I die," Alex Romey said. "Well, I guess since you're 6 years younger than me, I guess we call it even," Jim says. "I wasn't even a month old when the Army Aircraft Air Corps called Dad in World War II. And he said God. For 10 months. So where's Betsy?" "I flew in alone because we were having some problems. But now we got something bigger to deal with. Also, my son's friends died. Listen, Daryl refuses to come back to Texas yet. But as long as he's in Detroit, will you promise to help look after him?" And the senator reaches out to give him a handshake. "Cross my heart." Okay, so it's 2 a.m. Central. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Kyle is awake, agitated. He is frustrated that he has to go with the bike this morning of the milk machines. Never forsake a God-forsaken serve. Never trust a God-forsaken serve, Kyle bellowed. Cut down at the tower. Where were his damn men? Okay, so it's 3 a.m. Eastern. Jill and Jim Bob wake up and decide to talk. Why wouldn't your dad let us go together? And Gerald said, Mama called Daddy's home, so most likely his assistant. He'll let us work together. To tell you the truth, I'm getting tired of working with Brad all the time. Please tell me you're done calling Jennifer Bowers. Most definitely. You see, Mrs. Romney? San Francisco found this on the... Our friend from San Francisco found this on the BBS. Jennifer was seen out with this guy from Fort Worth, living in Bethesda, Maryland, who's up there hobnobbing. Hey, and there's Canadian Hooks, like it's a done deal. She loves him. Then that means you're going back to Karen. And Jim Bob. There's the bill. He's probably going to get the bill at least one more time. I know of. Okay. And Carol's like, Karen being awkward. Karen's being awkward, Chili. States, I'm not sure. But something I'm not sure I'm interested in any kind of relationship. Especially now, the Holly Hawthorne that Daddy keeps harping about. Man, JR, he's out of his mind. Your daddy's out of his mind if he thinks that Holly Hawthorne is going to make you happy. I know you used to come back home and tell me how that woman was breaking your heart. She's not worth it. When you come home to go to college 4 years ago, she had your mind all mixed up and you were going crazy. Oh, hey JR saying Daddy's mind's only on power. 7 a.m. Breakfast at the Romney Mansion. It was blueberry muffins or cinnamon muffins. And obviously present with Jim was that same girl that he was on the plane with yesterday. 11 a.m. As his father takes off to go back to Midland, JR, Brad, Jim Bob, and Kevin walk into the Marriott boardroom at Detroit International Airport. Supervising this work was a member of of Jim's dream team, Mike Pierce. All right. Crew has work to do. Here you are going to go to the downtown building to meet the lobbyist. Kevin Vanderhook, Josh Bedford. Mr. Wynn, you're on this one with Kevin Delano. Now, JR and Jim Bob Orton are going to take the Centris limo directly to the home of the corporate lawyer who can have big sway in the Pennsylvania Senate. He just got back from Alaska 2 days ago, and he's in his mansion in Bloomfield Hills. Sooner you can get the work done, sooner you guys can go back to the mansion and party for your last day in paradise here in Detroit. Okay, and so JR is taking this mansion, and he goes down to, they go together, as Brad and Kevin Delano are going downtown to meet the two lobbyists. JR and Brad, JR and Jim Bob, they park outside, and they talk to the corporate lawyer who gives them this briefing. Okay, so now it's 1 p.m. Central. And arriving at the Jeremy Swain hangar at the airport, Jim is happy that Mike Fields has brought his old white Chrysler 1994. Come on, Mike. Let's go help Kyle. And Mike says him and Betsy are at the Moorhead Family Ranch to console the rest of the family. Only ones back at the house are Elizabeth and your brother Carl and his family. Okay. Need to pause for a while. Alright, I told Jimmy we had to come back and finish this. Indeed we do. Okay, so where are we? Okay. So now it's 3 p.m. Eastern. JR arrives at the motorhome to find Jim Bob listening to Blake Carter do his speech at the convention. And it's live on the radio. This guy was a crackpot, Jim. Jim Bob, why do you listen to him? And Jim Bob says, well, I got all the economic data in the hands of its peers. And by one was done with a day. So I'm listening to Blake Carter. He's good. He's got some pointers, Jim Bob said. Oh, yeah. Aunt Carolyn found this in the paper. It was an engagement party last night for Jennifer Bowers and this new blogger named John Henry. Yeah, I know. She's probably going to be moving to one of her parents' houses in Houston so that she can be close to him in Fort Worth. 7 p.m. Eastern. Dinner that night at the Romy Mansion. Was meatloaf, fried potatoes, fried squash, and for dessert, macaroon chocolate cookies. 11 p.m. Jay and his friends go up to balloons, and JR advised them to be in the mother home with their luggage at 6, because they had to leave it at 6 a.m. Okay. July 14th to 15th. Okay. July 14th, okay. 1 a.m. Central. Kyle goes the ranch patio, look outside, taking a breath of fresh air, but at the same time, he's smoking a cigarette. Kyle. One had a pack of cigarettes, another had a bottle of Scotch whiskey. And Madison walks outside. Why'd you come after me, Madison? You're low. And you need someone to talk to. Come on back inside. I'll make some coffee. And we can talk in the living room. Okay, so it's 2 a.m. Central. Elizabeth wakes up, no abdominal pain. She goes into the living room with to find Kyle and Madison still talking. And she says a prayer and offers some condolences to Kyle. At 3 a.m. Central. Kyle motions to Nicholas, who was taking his wife with him to bring a couple of bulls for rodeo in Galveston. He tells him not to come back until the rodeo's over Saturday afternoon. Okay. 6:10 a.m. Eastern. The motorhome with interns departs from Detroit, going down to Madison, Wisconsin, which is in Central Time Zone. This trip would take about 7 to 8 hours. The senator wife waves goodbye to JR, who sits on the bed of the motorhome as it departs. Okay, 7:30 a.m. Central. The family is sitting down at the breakfast table at the ranch, having some of Kyle's favorites. Sweet rice, apple butter, with on toast with a few donuts. With JR not there, Grandma Elizabeth said the blessing over the food. The mood, of course, was somber. 8 a.m. Central. Kyle is out in the barn, vaccinating some goats, trying to get his mind off the loss of his friend. 9 a.m. Central. Sunset Funeral Home. The Hendrick party joined the Moorhead family. Visitation to James Moorhead. It just don't seem like he's in the casket, Rodney Moorhead said. Kyle, I need you and your family to give me a favor. Could you help us look after Laurie and Kate? Madison and I are having another baby in 6 months. Who knows here? She may be Kate's playmate, Kyle said. Look. I know that James fought prevailing. But this almost seems like his death is unjust. There was a time I would argue with, and Kyle's like, look, I know that James fought prevailing, but I just don't think his death, I just think his death is unjust. There was a time I would argue with that over you, Kyle. But this time, I'm with you. I'm against the war in Bosnia. Okay, so it's 1 p.m. Central. It's Madison, Wisconsin. The family arrives, the interns arrive at the room, and they return to them. He's coming to them. Guys, the window's opening. A day soon. Then I thought, you are needed in a Senate chamber. Now. They'll know. I know that Dexter has briefed you. So it's up to you to testify the Senate. For the Block Grant Initiative. Now, Wynn and Horton, you guys are going to be in the Senate chambers. As Delano testifies, you will be giving them some data. JR. We got to rush off to the mansion of Congressman Joe Armstrong to pick him up and take him to the airport. Good news is he has a spare private plane, so you can take the leave on Sunday. Okay, so Everett Covington would become a valuable friend to me and Daddy. He would try to win me over towards Daddy's point of view about my relationship with him. But at that time, I was so stubborn I wouldn't even want to listen. Okay, so it's 2 p.m. At the airport. Congressman Armstrong exchanged a few pleasantries with JR. You know, I've always liked how your father moves on Capitol Hill, but I observed you this summer. You did fantastic, JR, Congressman Armstrong said. Alright, so it's 2:30 p.m. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Jim is sitting on the patio with Kyle. I don't know what to say, boy. It's been almost 24 years ago. If False Salsa Federal Mailman killed when our plane was shot down, we were able to make past enemy lines. It was awful alarming. But I had to carry back. 2 got carried back by me and another fellow airman. We had to take them back to the base. I wanted to take one of them back to their hometown. My commanding officer said no. I was just a little lieutenant back then in the Air Force. He was a captain. Let me tell you something. Now, I now have that pain. Hell, for years. I just didn't want to tell you boys about it. But since it's happened with you and your best friend, I hope I can be some kind of comfort to you. You're doing okay, Dad? I just don't understand why JR couldn't come home. He's angry at me. I guess I gotta smooth things over when I get back to DC. You can tell he's a moron. And so Grandma Elizabeth wheels out the patio. That's an interesting word about your older brother coming from you, Kyle. Sorry, Grandma, I didn't hear you come in, Jim said. Now, Kyle, you take that back. You should know better than that. What service JR is doing for this country. That's Bambosh, Grandma, Kyle said. I'm the only one that suggested that the whole family be together. Right, Jim? Yeah. It's trying to seem strive to me, thank God. It seemed right to me, thank God. I'm going to go inside and make some phone calls. So he goes inside and closes the door. And then Grandma says, hey, let's think about this. I'm talking none other except for your dad. We're all coming home to Texas in August. And that means we need to start being able to behave and get along under the same roof. You'll give your older brother some respect. Picking on him is not good. Remember your friend. James Moorhead was a good friend to you, and he loved JR too. And it's unbecoming for a foreman at Swingfield. And Kevin and Kyle, he gets irritated. He's like, spare me, please. Kyle, the bell. The bell, that's what you get, idiot. That's what you get. And Grandma Elizabeth said, I understand that you're grief stricken, son, but have some courtesy. Long silence as Kyle picks up a small plank for some firewood. Now think about this, Kyle. This bench could very well be yours someday. And you got a wife? Even though I don't want to prove her. And you're expecting a new baby. Congratulations. And now I understand you lost your friend. And I'm sorry about that. But in order to survive in this family, but if you want to honor your friends, honor your family. Elizabeth takes her and unlocks it before going inside, and she says, "You have succeeded so much this year. Unlike any of the other grandkids, please don't blow it. Just please don't blow it." And she starts coughing and goes back into the house. Okay, so we're back in Madison. JR is sitting at the mobile home. He's feeling pretty dejected when Brad comes in. "What's wrong, man?" And Brad and JR's like, "Karen don't answer her phone. My guessing is her mama and grandma are in town. You know, maybe." Okay, Jim Bob says, "You know, maybe you should come back to Texas with your family." Jim Bob. Bell. What's his people now? And so Kevin Delano gets first. "Man, shut it. I can't wait to go back to D.C. on Sunday." "Well, I'm not going to stay here and listen to us bicker," Joe said. And Kevin's like, "Hey, I'll call car service if we can rent a boat in the river here in Madison. Go there for the river for a while. Leave these two in here." So Kevin was born in Boston. He would break free from the liberal ivory tower and make his way to Liberty University, where he got his bachelor's degree in political science. I would run into Kevin again in 2012 when I was lobbying for my empowerment company. Okay, so it's 7 p.m. Central. Hendrick and Moorhead family are having dinner at the Moorhead Ranch, getting ready for what was to be the funeral. The funeral was at 11. But then at 3 p.m., the Hendrick family had to go to St. Joseph's Catholic Church for Claude's wedding. June 15th, 1 a.m., Kyle is in the dining room beside himself with grief, along with James's commanding officer. Kyle was to be a pallbearer at the funeral, his first ever military funeral. 3 a.m., Grandma Elizabeth wakes up with abdominal pain and gets Thomas to give her tonic and some herbs so she can go back to sleep. 5 a.m., Kyle was out milking the cows, you know. He's still under the sorrow. Kyle does his chores the best he knows how. It's 11 a.m. and they're at the funeral home, and it's done by the sermon is done by Assemblies of Christ bishop. And then at 11:30, they would go to the graveside where they would do the graveside rites where James Moorhead had his favorite country song played. Okay, so now it's 1 p.m. Ooh. Trouble at the Hendrick household. Kyle is pissed. And so Madison said, I never wanted to live on this ranch again. And Kyle said, oh, you never wanted to live on this ranch again? Huh? We ain't got no choice. I got no money. My best friend died. My grandma's dying. And my mama needs help around here. And let's not forget, you chose to get pregnant, honey. Okay, Jim loses it here. And I would too. Kyle, I realize you're grief-stricken, but dude, that's wrong. You get the bell. You get the bell for being stupid. Okay, Jim grabs him. Put a cork in it, boy. I realize you're in sorrow because you lost your best friend. But boy, being ugly to mother and my grandchildren, you don't stop that, you hear? Now brush up. We got a wedding to go to. 1:30 p.m. in the motorhome, JR receives a phone call from Dexter. Reception in Wisconsin and Michigan seems kind of lukewarm. I'm sorry, guys. I should never gave you the assignment. Something tells me, JR, you guys are going to be working with your father again. Okay, so there we go. 3 p.m., St. Joseph's Catholic Church, Odessa, Texas. Claude and his priest, Father Michael Fry. Since Janet's friend Florence had a little falling out, Betsy was to be the man of honor. And Jim was Claude's best man. So there comes the wedding march and everything. The ceremony lasts about 30 minutes. And then they left to have the reception at the ranch. 5 p.m. At the little home, JR's feeling blue. And so Brad invites him to church at First Baptist Madison. JR's in need of some spiritual inspiration right now. I would say so, JR. Bless your heart. Okay, so it's July 16th. It's 1 a.m. Jim has a flashback dream. It's July 15th, 1967. A little bar in San Angelo, a back room where some illegal gambling is taking place. Jim and John Dustin are playing a game of cards at poker. I don't believe it, Jim said. John stands and gets in in Jim's face. Well, can't you believe? Counting cards? Betsy ain't taking you keep on. Take you being a cheat. Dealing at the bottom of the deck. You ain't getting my Betsy. You cheat, Jim bellowed. You can't get Betsy. If she finds out, if she and her daddy find out, you're a below the belt cheat. Okay, so get this. The fight lasts for about half an hour. You know, Jim throws the first punch. John has him down for a while. You know, there's a point where Carl's already out of the guillotine. And it gets to, the fight is such a sense that it comes close, it puts the bar almost on fire. So finally, Jim punches him square in between the eyes, and he yells at John. You Navy reject, go back to the hotel and pack your stuff, because you're out. And give it time, you'll lose your woman. Yeah, they said that bar near fell on fire. Mama dated John for 8 more months, and then she fell for daddy. Okay, so it's 2 a.m. Jim wakes up and goes to the home ranch office. And guess what? He finds some emails from that prostitute he had been with a couple times. And she's saying, you know, I love you and all this ooey gooey stuff. Okay, 4 a.m. JR stepped out of the motorhome to get a breath of fresh air. Rain was falling down in Madison, Wisconsin. 8:15 a.m. With the motorhome parked in front of First Baptist Madison, JR and Brad go to the contemporary worship service. Now, Kevin Delano has already been dropped off at St. Matthew's Assemblies of Christ Church. Now, 1:38 p.m., with Floyd the driver having dropped off the motorhome at Madison AI, there was a rental car that took them to Madison International Airport, where they went through a security check and boarded Avery Covington's private jet. 2:30 p.m., the private jet departs from Madison International Airport, bound for Dulles International Airport. 3 p.m. Central. Jim, Betsy, and Elizabeth arrive at Midland International Airport to board the private plane. They go through a brief security check. 4 p.m. Eastern. Arriving at the Dulles International Airport, the interns go their separate ways. Jim Bob takes a bus back to his house. Kevin Delano takes his car, and Brad takes JR to his apartment until he's sure his family's home. Alright, so they arrive at 8:30 p.m. at the mansion. And JR goes to the apartment, and his grandmother greets him. She says, welcome back, JR. Now, can we all just try to get along? And JR says, sure, Grandma. I promise we can try. I give this episode a 3.5. And a steak dinner. I give it a 4.0. And a case of non-alcoholic champagne. Hope you enjoy listening to J.R. Hendrick, Texas and Gentlemen. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, become a part of the adventure. This is the James Hendrick Empowerment Network saying until next time, get ready for the rest of the story. It is going to get interesting and a little bumpy from here.